As a matter of fact, I'd actually been doing some on it anyway prior.
Okay.
That's why I was like, hey, I've been looking for something like that.
We're doing, Rick, we're doing we did this last year too, but we do last year we called it a Black Friday show. Yeah. This year we might just call it like a holiday shopping show or something. But what we do is we have some companies that sent us product to review, like some weather radios, and last year we had Red Cross send us some first aid kits, cool. Some weather radio stuff like that. This year we've got Sangen, Eaton, WeatherX. We had a company that sent us some weather toys too. We've got like a little storm chaser mobile thing for kids to play with.
That's cool.
We've got a snow, some kind of mixed snow. It's like a chemical learning kit on how to winter weather and stuff like that. It's kind of cool. But anyway, so what we do is we do it the Thursday before Black Friday, or the big shopping season. Which would typically be Thanksgiving, but for us, we're bi-weekly, so it'll be the week before. Anyway, we do a show and we review the product, and to give people an idea of stuff they can put on their own Christmas list, or
that's very
shop
cool.
for their weather fans, I guess.
Next year is vehicles, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm not even picky. Yeah,
SUVs.
I've got an email into Ford, Chevy. They all got emails coming.
The avalanche, the storm.
We are 3 minutes to live. 3 minutes.
What's up, everyone?
Hey,
hi, Brady.
What's happening, Mr. B?
Great to see you. Rick, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Brady, glad to be here. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you.
I didn't say hello to Rick. Hello, Rick.
Hi, how are you?
I am unstoppable.
Hey, guys.
That's awesome.
There you go. And Kim.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
Kim.
Hello. Am I getting hung up here? Okay. I hope that's better.
Who would hang up on you? I mean, really?
I don't know, but it seems like I'm stopping.
And
Somebody
Chris
might.
is on.
Yeah, hi.
Okay.
Sandman.
It's a party.
It's a bit of a mess.
Oh, look at that hair. Look at that hair.
Yeah.
Beautiful as ever.
Dude, what, you made a mess of your studio already?
He has hair.
I'm trying to find my earbuds. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good. I'm still on Italy time, so it's like 2 a.m. for me here. So
I'm gonna go old school. 1 second.
When did you get back from Italy?
2 minutes to
like
live.
a day ago. So
Okay.
Still a little jet
Wow,
lag
really?
here. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Okay, you just
It was a
got back.
blast. It was amazing, but
So hey, did you learn to use your microphone arm yet, or not?
I left it on campus, so I don't have it. But I have a little.
Like you really don't have it anymore?
No, it's on campus.
I
but,
see you have it elevated this time, though.
Yes, that won't be a problem. My
Just
table-
don't hit it. Just don't knock it.
I won't.
Keep
I
your
won't.
knees off your desk.
I won't.
All those.
I just get too excited when I talk.
All right, I'm gonna.
Is that a skeleton behind you, Kim?
It is.
No.
Are we having like local guests and stuff?
My buddy.
Good stuff.
Nice.
You name him?
I'm not going to tell you.
Some people have stuffed animals, Kim. I'm just saying unicorn, stuff like that. But
Pretty good. We are 1 minute. 1 minute.
Well, I'm going to really dress this place up for Halloween for you guys, the next one. But I just wanted to bring down one of my buddies. He wanted to see the podcast.
Yeah, he's looking a little thin.
I'm trying to get him to drink more beer, and he just won't do it.
wow.
Okay, so he's going to sit here with us. Okay.
So hey, Rick, just a heads up. So when we start, we actually play, because we're simulcast on
30
Oklahoma
seconds.
Weathercracker TV. So we actually play the intro. So just during that intro part, I just always tell people, make sure you're quiet, because it would come over our intro. We're probably not as high tech as you guys are at the Weather Brain. So
Hi,
we're a
Rick.
little more low.
Don't be so sure. Hi, Kim. How's it going?
Good.
Here we
how
go
are
in
you?
10 seconds. And we are ready to go. From tornadoes to hurricanes, blizzards, and everything in between, you're listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast. Stormfront Freaks are former television meteorologist Mark Massaro, atmospheric science graduate and skywarn storm spotter Brady Harris, digital meteorologist and weather producer on the Weather Channel app Dina Knightley, former on-camera meteorologist at the Weather Channel Kim Cunningham, Emmy-winning storm chaser and photographer Chris Sanner, and I'm your announcer and Skywarn Network coordinator Mark Johnson. Now, here's the moderator of the Stormfront Freaks podcast, Skywarn storm spotter and chaser Phil Johnson.
Nice.
Hey, welcome to the most entertaining weather podcast on your listening and viewing device. This is the Stormfront Freaks podcast, and if you happen to be watching us right now, we call it Stormfront Freaks Raw because you're just getting the raw recording, nothing fancy from us in those regards.
Wait,
but hey,
wait. Are you using a teleprompter?
No.
You look.
Wow.
No. I've done this enough now. I know what I'm saying.
All right, sorry.
That's all right. So, hey, if it is your first time listening, thanks for checking us out. Be sure to catch our last episode with CNN meteorologist Jennifer Gray was with us, or any of our previous shows with guests like storm chaser Kelly Williamson or the Weather Channel's Tom Nizzle. But this is episode 37. Our guest this week is warning coordinator meteorologist for the National Weather Service in Norman, Oklahoma. Mr. Rick Smith is with us tonight.
Right.
We'll also be discussing with Rick and the rest of the co-hosts. We'll be discussing the relationship between the National Weather Service and storm spotters versus the relationship with storm chasers. And don't forget to stick around for our Titan U Minute, Weather Fools, WX Resources, listener comments, and there's always an unexpected surprise in there as well, usually. So let's do this. Let's quick introduce the team. It's always happy hour when we record, so let's introduce our co-host and find out what they're drinking tonight. We'll start with MJ up in Minnesota.
All right, pulling another one from south of the border tonight. It's a Tecate Light.
Nice.
Watching your waist again, huh?
Yes, I am.
The light, the tasty light.
As I
beer.
say, nobody else is watching it, so.
Now, Mark, let me tell you a story. When I was over in Nogales, Mexico, a long, long time ago, the first time I had Tecate, it was in a can, and they actually they squeezed a lime to the rim of the can, and then put salt on their thumb, and they did it like a shot of tequila. That's how they drank Tecate.
Nice.
And then you got Montezuma's Revenge, right?
And
High quality stuff there.
So you had to suck other people's thumb?
Yes. Well, you did if you wanted to, I guess.
Already Rick is questioning, like, should I be on this show?
Yes. Well, hey, Kim, go ahead and tell us. You're down in Atlanta. What are you drinking tonight?
Well, I am going to be doing Atlanta. Well, I'm going to do Athens.
Didn't catch you off guard.
You did. I'm usually not
Unprepared.
second. I'm unprepared. This is an Athens, one of the faves, I think, for people who like hoppy beer. This is from Terrapin, and it's Hopsecutioner, which I just love the name of it. So Hopsecutioner, and I'm drinking it out of one of my Halloween pint glasses. This is the Mummy this time. Okay.
Creepy. Creepy. All right. Chris in Oklahoma City area. What are you drinking, Chris?
Well, honestly, we've got to keep up our reputation as the most healthy and fit storm chase team ever over at Tornado Titans. So tonight, I'm having high quality H2O after an intense workout earlier today. So
Whoa.
I am hydrating to keep the fitness going. We keep the fitness up in the winter so we can be ready for spring. Be sprinting through the fields and stuff. It's important.
So you'll be the sober one by the end of the show. That's good. Maz in Cincinnati. What are you drinking, Maz?
I'm hydrating too. It's Mad Tree Happy Amber.
Ooh, yeah.
It's
Nice fall colors.
It is. I know, right?
That sounds good.
And
It is.
I've got
Actually,
my Mad Tree shirt on tonight, too.
Let me see. Oh, yeah. Nicely done. So speaking of shirts, Kim, did you ever get your Don't Worry, Be Hoppy?
No, I got to get
Oh
that.
my gosh.
But I do have my Salem shirt on. I was just in Salem on Monday in Massachusetts. So I got Which City t-shirt on. So.
Oh, which
Very cool.
It's all about Halloween. It's all about Halloween.
Witchy woman. All right, so Brady, are you in Italy or are you in Columbus tonight?
No, I am in Columbus, and I promise you I won't be the most sober one on this show at the end of the night because I'm drinking limoncello, which I didn't think it was going to be this strong, and it is very strong. It's basically, I think it's almost like a shot. I think it's almost like, I mean, it's in like this big bottle. I got this straight from a winery over there, but it's very good. It's a little like lemony, and I would say it's almost like a lemon vodka.
What's it called?
Limoncello. Have you ever heard of it?
I have not.
No.
Need it amplify or
It's too fancy.
Yeah, hold it steady.
It's pretty good. I mean, I was surprised. About this much is all you can really drink though, and it's but it's good.
Does it taste like lemonade?
It kind of does. It has.
Like
it
lemonade?
tastes like lemonade and vodka, basically, is what I would say.
Ooh.
All right. Well, I'm doubling up on Maz. I've got Mad Tree tonight too, and I've got my favorite I talked about last week, which is Pilgrim, and they just started canning it, which is the kind of cranberry vanilla bean pale ale. That's my favorite. But I'll be honest with you. I had the can last show, and it's not the same in the can. It doesn't have that Captain Crunch berry aftertaste that I love. So I ended up getting a growler of it, and so I'm drinking from the growler tonight.
Nice. All right.
And Rick, I don't know if you know about our happy hour, but are you drinking anything tonight, sir?
I do, and Chris is not too far up the road from me. We didn't plan this, but I'm enjoying also water. Sorry. I was wrestling with a boxer and a dachshund right before we started here. And that's the best I could do.
They drank all your beer. I get it.
Yeah, they do that.
Like that.
Do you play poker with them?
Do what?
Do you play poker with them? Around the table?
I haven't. They haven't. They're not that good yet. No.
My pugs could teach them a thing or two. Just so you know, Rick.
Oh,
right. I want to see. I would love to see that on a black velvet painting.
Yes.
Like dogs sitting around a poker table.
That's only a thing.
What an idea.
That could be something.
All right, well, let's do this. Let's get to what everybody's here for tonight, which is our guest, Rick. Kim, do you want to go ahead and do the honors and introduce our guest?
I would love to. All right, Rick is actually one of the very few and the very proud meteorologists who have actually received his degree from the very short-lived meteorology program at the University of Memphis. And while he was attending, he went from a student volunteer to a full-time meteorologist or Met intern at his hometown National Weather Service office in Memphis. And then in '97, he actually moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma, as he was a forecaster there. Then 2 years later, he accepted a job in Fort Worth at the National Weather Service Southern Regional Headquarters. And then in 2002, Rick was actually selected to be the WCM, or the Warning Coordinator Meteorologist, at National Weather Service in Norman, Oklahoma. And this, his dream job. So awesome. And he's actually been there ever since. He's also a co-host of the Weather Brains podcast. Now, Rick, it sounds like a fantastic, job for you. I know it's so important to have that job that you love. Some of us out here, though, may not know exactly what a WCM does. So if you could just maybe quickly, tell us a little bit about your job.
Yeah, absolutely. The Warning Coordination Meteorologist, or WCM, is essentially, it's like the sales and marketing arm of the Weather Service, the public relations arm. We do all the external affairs. So we kind of interact with everybody outside the office, whether it's emergency managers, public safety agencies, the TV meteorologists, radio stations, storm chasers, storm spotters, the public. And really our job is to work with all of those people outside the office to make sure that the community is as ready as they can be for whatever bad weather might be coming. So it's a full-time job here in Oklahoma, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, how'd you kill, or who killed the department at the University of Memphis? How'd that happen?
Gosh, it was just kind of thrown together with duct tape and baling wire there. And actually, there's a few people in the Weather Service that got their degrees from there. There's a forecaster in Nashville, I think, that got his degree there, a forecaster in New Orleans. There's a meteorologist at FedEx that actually graduated from there. So it just kind of came together for a short time. I know there's talk about getting it back together, but it was just a real small program, and thankfully, I was able to and get the job I liked or loved and always wanted to have. So it if you believe in fate and things like that, it kind of worked out for me at least. So I'm happy that it happened.
You could bring it back. You could be the guy.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if I'm that smart. But,
so Rick, give us a little background. What got you into weather? Have you been interested in weather since you were a kid? Give us kind of your backstory.
Yeah, the backstory is I've been interested in weather as long as I can remember. Sitting on the shelf, on my bookshelf in my office, is something my wife found in a box of old stuff. It's a weather forecast I drew and wrote when I was in first grade. I think it says today the weather is sunny and fair, or good and fair, or something like that. So as long as I can remember, I've been into weather. I've been obsessed with it, and my backstory doesn't really. I don't know of an event that really sparked it. A lot of people have a story where it was a blizzard or a tornado or a hurricane. I don't really have that, but what I do know is from as long as I can remember, all the way up until my teenage years, I was absolutely terrified of storms. I mean, during the day they were okay, they were very fascinating, but if there was a storm at night, I just couldn't handle it. I mean, I was sleeping on the parents' floor, but the next day I was at the library looking at, trying to find pictures of tornadoes. So it was a weird kind of a love-hate relationship with storms as I was growing up.
I think Poltergeist, the movie, did that to everybody with the counting.
Yeah.
If I would have seen that, I would have done.
Well, speaking of anxiety and storm anxiety, Rick, I know you're working with some mental health professionals on storm anxiety. I'm in Oklahoma City. I actually now, as of 2 years ago, work in the TV end of it. Just talk about what you're doing there and what you guys are finding out.
Yeah, we, from talking to our counterparts on TV at Channel 5 and all the other channels in Oklahoma City, we all get phone calls from people. We all get Facebook messages from people. And there's a lot of storm anxiety here in the Oklahoma City area, and actually around the country. I mean, everywhere, every weather service office has their group of people that call. And what we're doing is kind of working with the Mental Health Association here in Oklahoma, just trying to learn more about it. And we can't cure people, we can't diagnose people, but we're just, we're trying to learn how to interact better with the people that have these problems, because people that have the storm anxiety or storm phobia, when they come to us on the phone or on our Facebook page and ask us questions, they're different than a lot of the people that ask questions. I mean, they are obsessed with the weather, and a lot of them are just unable to function when there's bad weather. We have one particular lady that calls our office and calls all the TV stations, who literally is incapacitated if there's a 20% pop in the 7-day forecast.
Wow.
It's sad. And I grew up with that myself, so I kind of have a lot of empathy for those people. And again, it's not our job to fix them or diagnose them or anything, but I think just being more sensitive to that. So we're working with the Mental Health Association to study that. And what we did recently, we did a little survey on our Facebook page to ask people, okay, if you've got anxiety, specifically, what is it exactly that you're afraid of? What is it about storms that makes you so fearful? And we got some amazing feedback. And what we're doing now is trying to take that feedback and develop a web page. So, we can address some of those fears that people have and give them some practical advice of what they can actually do about it, instead of just saying, well, have a kid and be informed and be ready for storms. If people are specifically afraid that they're going to be separated from their family and unable to communicate, what information can we give those people specifically to help them? So it's that kind of thing that we're looking at.
What other people are involved in that group, Rick, besides National Weather Service? Are there other organizations?
Yeah, there's the Mental Health Association of Oklahoma, who we've been working with most closely. They actually got grant money and have been actually doing counseling and have support groups after the 2013 tornadoes, especially where they're actually talking to people, and they set up at events and actually provide counseling to people who were affected by the tornadoes in 2013, either directly or indirectly. So that's our main partner. We're also working with a group associated with something called the Oklahoma Medical Reserve Corps. And this is a group of doctors, nurses, mental health professionals who are kind of on standby and ready to deploy in the case of a big disaster. So they can come in and help supplement the local system that's in place for doctors, nurses, triage, things like that, and then also with the mental health side of things. So we're working with them, and it's really been fascinating. We actually had some training that they provided for our staff recently on, what kinds of things that we could do to better deal with those phone callers that we get, for example, listening skills, and just, trying to be as patient as possible. It's not always easy when they call every 15 minutes, but, I feel for them.
Yeah. So how did you get over it? I'm sorry.
Sorry, Kim, go ahead.
How did you get over it? I mean, how did,
Gosh, I don't really know. I mean, it was just like all the time I was terrified of storms. I was also fascinated with them. So like I said, I was, covering my ears at night and hoping not to hear anything. And then during the day, I'm devouring every piece of weather information I can find. At some point, the switch just flipped. And then I'm probably in my teenage years sometime it just became the fascination, and the curiosity really took over, and it just, I don't know, it seems like it was almost overnight, and since then that's where it's been. Now, I will admit that after living here in Oklahoma since 2002, and after my house was actually hit by an EF0, EF1 tornado in 2015, and after we've had to replace the roof 3 times while I'm at work and my family's going in the shelter, it's coming back a little bit. It's a little bit different now, but the anxiety is not completely gone. It's kind of more of a dread, Oh gosh, here we go again.
Do you guys have windows in your office, so when you got storms coming in that you're trying to keep an eye on? Are there windows, or are you enclosed and you're just looking at radar?
We actually do, contrary to popular belief. Weather service meteorologists do actually look out the window, and because
I know some don't. I know some offices don't have a lot of windows.
You're right, and we're in the National Weather Center building, and really when you look out of our windows, it's like you're on the ground floor, and we have a west view, but unfortunately we have a west view of a bunch of trees. We couldn't get the cushy real estate up on the 5th floor of the building, unfortunately. But yeah, we got windows, and we're watching, and we've had experiences in the building with storms for sure.
So you have a west view with trees blocking it at the weather service, which is like the perfect storm. All of a sudden it was right in front of us.
Yeah. It's go ahead.
What's the youngest age of callers that you guys get that have that anxiety?
Gosh, it's hard to know. The phone callers are really limited to a smaller group now. To get more people on there. One of the callers in particular, I think, is probably a person that had a family member who was directly impacted by the May 3rd, 99 tornadoes. So we don't really hear from a lot of kids. Of course, on Facebook, it's hard to know. Like I said, we interact a lot more via Facebook messages, where they're just talking directly to us one-on-one. And so it's hard to know for sure, but I think it probably spans all ages. And one of the things we do know for sure is, if you remember back to 2013, the tornadoes that affected our area, May 20th, schools got, or there were 3 or 4 schools that got hit: Briarwood Elementary, Plaza Tower Elementary, one of the junior highs, and more. And there's a whole generation of students that were either at those schools or affiliated with those schools who now have this issue. And we've actually worked with them. We've actually provided tours for them at the recommendation of their counselors. And a lot of these kids still from 2013 are going to routine counseling to help them get over this. I mean, these were the kids that were buried in the concrete and the rubble that you saw the pictures of being pulled out. And one of the coolest is not the real word, but one of the things I was most honored to be able to do is to host a tour for a lot of those children from Briarwood a couple of years ago, where they came out, the entire 3rd grade class came out, and they spent half a day with us, and we had some weather activities. And really what the counselors tell us is, is it does help. It does seem to help when we can show them and tell them, hey, look, we know you're afraid of storms. We were afraid of storms too, but look at this army of people that's here. You were in the best place in the world as far as weather information. You got people like Chris who are out there watching the storms. You've got all these radars. You've got all these researchers. And the feedback that we get after those visits is from the parents is that it seemed to help. So that's one of the coolest things I've been able to do.
Yeah, made them feel more safe. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Rick, I'm going to kind of switch gears a little bit. So I know you kind of talked earlier about, what you do, but let's pick a day, say May 20th, 2013. What would a typical day like that, you get up and you go into work and then what do you do?
Yeah, on a day like May 20th or any of those severe weather days, I'm part of the leadership team or the management team of the office. Every weather service office has a meteorologist in charge and a warning coordination meteorologist and a science and operations officer. Mm-hmm. We're kind of the core management team, along with a couple of others in the office. And really one of our main jobs, or my main jobs on a day like that, is helping to kind of help steer the ship in the right direction. I'm probably not sitting down and drawing the graphics. I'm probably not doing the forecast myself, but I'm probably helping to steer the message. And for example, let's look at May 20th, for example, that before I ever left home that morning, I think the first tweet I sent of that day from the office account was from my kitchen table. And we knew already early that morning before I ever got into the office that we're going to be dealing with storms that were a little bit atypical for Oklahoma. Instead of happening from 4 to 7 o'clock, we were thinking we're going to have initiation at maybe as early as 2 o'clock. And that was a whole different story when it came to schools, businesses, rush hour. So we're already thinking of the message. And on a day like that, we have usually it's a team huddle. Think of a football huddle where we're getting together and what's the game plan? What playbook are we going to use today? What is the game plan? Who's going to do what? Who's playing quarterback today? Who's going to be the warning forecaster? And what is our message? And really the message is everything on a day like that, because we want a consolidated, consistent, unified message coming out of our office, going to our media partners, going to all the emergency managers and the people out there who have their fingers on the siren buttons and who are doing the real work in the local communities to get that message out. So it's that particular day, I remember it. It was like you wake up and May 19th, we looked to May 20th and thought, oh man, tomorrow looks really bad. And when you wake up on the morning, you're thinking, please let it be very cloudy. Please let it be raining. Please let it be something. And you look out and you got south winds at 15 to 20 and the dew points are high and it's already in the 80s. And you're like, crap, we're going to have to do this today. Something bad's going to happen somewhere. And really, it's just really getting in there. And my job is to kind of help lead the team or help guide the team and do whatever is needed. So whether it's social media, whether it's briefing emergency managers, whatever needs to be done, I'm kind of there to help with that.
Rick, do you ever get any pushback from anyone that not necessarily your team, because you have, you'll come to a consensus. Do you get any pushback from managers saying, we think something different in terms of forecast differences?
Not really. We have a really good team at our office, and I get a lot of FaceTime. I get to be the spokesman for a group of people, a group of about 25 people that are really doing the real work behind the scenes. That's awesome. Forecasters who are doing the graphics, the forecasters who are figuring out the timing and what's going to happen, working with the Storm Prediction Center. So no, really, I'm really lucky to work with a boss, David Andrew, who's our meteorologist in charge, who is, he's been here forever and he's seen it all. He's the guy that came up with the tornado emergency wording on May 3rd, 99. That's where that originated in his brain. And so we're really lucky
That's cool.
to have a good team. It's not always perfect, but yeah, we're usually able to come to a consensus. And on a day like May 20th or May 31st of 2013, it usually works out pretty well as far as the messaging part or agreeing how we're going to attack the day.
So what do you do if there's 2-3 people got the flu that day and you're like, oh, how deep are you guys with people you can call in or?
We're not as deep as you think. Weather service offices are essentially staffed for quiet weather. Like tonight, there's probably 2 or 3 people in our office working. If there was severe weather tonight, I might be in the office working, or my boss might be. People come in early, stay late, come in on their days off, just like a lot of TV stations or emergency operations centers, or amateur radio people that come in and help. So we've had situations like that, and we've had situations where we get day after day after day of severe weather. 2015 was a prime example of that, where we saw multiple episodes of severe weather, and a lot of our staff's houses got hit by storms on May 6th and May 8th. And I tell you, that adds a whole level of stress, leaving home saying, yeah, honey, I know the windows are broken, and I know you had to take shelter twice already this week, but I have to go to work again for 16 hours. And that's just, I'm not whining. It's part of the job, but it's hard. It's tough. It's hard.
You've been part of the National Weather Service, the government, since day one. I guess just give us a brief idea of what have the changes, what have you seen within the National Weather Service since you've started that might give you an idea of the future of the National Weather Service and the individual field offices, and where do you see that kind of going based on your experience?
Well, there's been a lot of changes. There's been technological changes with the radars, and certainly just look at GOES 16 that just came online, and all the technology has really come a long way. But really the philosophy of the Weather Service, our mission has always been to provide information to help people, to help save lives and protect property the best we can, and to work with our partners in the media, public safety, emergency management. We can't do this alone, so that hasn't changed. What has changed is we are starting to finally see that we can't talk in all capital letters like we're talking to other scientists all the time. The people that we're communicating with are not meteorologists, and the people that we're communicating with in the emergency management profession, while they may be very knowledgeable about weather, they need a different type of information from us. So one of the big changes we're seeing is this shift toward what the Weather Service is calling decision support services, where we are not just blasting information in all capital letters in a one-way broadcast to people, but we're having more of a dialogue with people, and we're listening more through social media is a big part of that, but we're also learning how to speak English, learning how to speak like a normal person and communicate. You guys that have been on television, you're way ahead of us on this, but I tell you, it's a struggle for some in the Weather Service. A lot of meteorologists, I got a degree to forecast, and I'm used to sitting in front of this workstation for 8 hours and doing the best possible forecast I can, and I'm not really interested in doing a Skype interview with Weather Nation or the Weather Channel, or I'm not really interested in talking to all these high schools that are calling asking about the lightning. But that's how it's evolving. That's our job. It's always been our job, but it's really becoming more at the forefront of our job now.
All right, well, let's do this, Rick. How can people follow you on social media?
Well, the best way is on Twitter. I'm really the most active there. It's just OUNWCM, and that's the best way. I have a Facebook page that I set up. I'm not really on there that much. I'm a much bigger fan of Twitter, so that's really the best way to get me.
Very good. All right. Well, hey, it's time for lightning round. So, Rick, this is our speed round of fun questions for our guest. And I understand you're born and raised Memphis boy, basically. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
And I hear you can take the boy out of Memphis, but you can't take Memphis out of the boy.
That's true.
So our lightning round tonight, we are going to play a little Elvis.
Oh boy.
A little Elvis high and low. We're playing a little Elvis.
I lived in Memphis my first 21 years of life. I never visited Graceland, so I may be in trouble.
Wow. Oh, you're killing me. You are killing me. Well,
we'll try.
Well, so here's what we're going to do. So it's high and low. So this is based a little bit off of Price is Right game. I'm going to give you a question and give you an answer, but the answer is incorrect. You just have to tell me, is the correct answer higher or lower than the answer I give you. And our Freaks co-hosts, you guys are certainly welcome to chime in with your feedback. And Rick, you can take it or not. That's completely up to you. But here we go. So number one, the number of songs written by Elvis is 35. Is the correct answer higher or lower than 35?
Who goes first?
Not me.
So 35. So has Elvis written more songs than 35 or fewer?
For sure 35. Or it's for sure higher.
For sure.
What do you think, Rick?
Gosh, I was thinking lower, but you guys are influencing me, so I'll go higher too.
It says higher. Well, that would be incorrect because the actual correct answer
Brady.
is
Don't trust
zero.
me. I never listened to
He's learned now. Don't
Too
listen to
young
the freaks.
now.
Yeah, don't listen to me.
Elvis
Brady
Elvis
was
did
like
not
20.
write any songs. Every single one of his songs he recorded were written by somebody else, not by Elvis. All right. The year Elvis, or how many years was Elvis part of active duty in the U.S. Army? Is the number higher or lower than 3? Number of years Elvis was in active duty with the U.S. Army.
Lower.
I'm going to say lower.
And you would be correct. It's 2. He was active duty
I
for
did know
2.
that one.
He was active duty for 2. All right. The number of years Elvis was in Vegas was the number higher or lower than 9 years? How many years was he in Vegas? And the International Hotel which is now I think the Hilton. That was the.
There you go. It's got to be lower.
60s, I think.
What's the answer?
Lower.
All right, so he says lower. You would be correct. It was 7 years, a little over 7 years.
All right.
That's right,
So very
Maz.
good. We're on a roll here. All right. How many number 1 Billboard hits does Elvis have? Is the number higher or lower than 16 number 1 Billboard hits? I think Sanders checking the internet
higher.
again.
Yeah, I
It's
think
got to be lower. I've only heard like 3 of his
Say
songs,
higher.
so I'm just going to say
there's got to
lower.
be a lot.
I say higher.
It's got to be lower.
What do you think, Rick?
Gosh, 16 is a lot. I'm going to say lower.
Oh, you were on a roll. It's actually higher. He had 18. He had 18
Yeah.
Oh my
number 1
gosh.
hits.
I've listened to some of those songs and they are not good.
I think I read, dude.
Wow.
I think I read Madonna and some other female artist had tied.
Kesha.
No,
Kesha.
had tied at
Yeah,
18.
no, I
but
don't
anyway, all right. His longest reigning album on Billboard was the Blue Hawaii soundtrack. Was that number 1? Was that the number 1 album on Billboard for higher or lower than 16 weeks that it was number 1 on Billboard? Higher or lower than 16 weeks?
Higher.
Straight.
I'm going to say
Come on,
higher.
Rick. You got it.
Higher.
Rick says higher. You're correct. It's
Hey,
20.
ding,
It
ding.
was 20. It was on.
Just listening to Kim. Kim's on a roll here too.
I'm on a roll.
Okay. She knows her music. I'll tell you that. She knows her music.
Well,
All
my
right,
husband.
last one. So we'll finish on a high note. The year Graceland was purchased by Elvis. Now, unfortunately, you might not know this because you never visited.
I've
But
driven by it.
the year Graceland was purchased by Elvis, was that higher or lower than 1954?
I'm going to say lower.
So you think it was before 1954?
I think so.
Okay.
I think that's
you
what I
would
think.
be incorrect. Unfortunately, it was 1957. He bought Graceland. I think I read Graceland started in, or they built Graceland, the previous owners in the 1930s. But
So, Phil, for some of the younger viewers, what's Graceland?
so Graceland is where Elvis lived.
good.
That's he bought Graceland, obviously in the 50s, and that's where he lived. That was his home in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm going to Graceland.
Brady, you
Memphis.
asked the
Still there.
wrong
You
question,
can tour it.
actually. For the young viewers, who is Elvis, Phil?
Oh, get out of
Oh,
here.
oh, boy.
Wow.
Dude,
Good question.
That's
you know, you've got to be careful there, Santa, because if you say that, it's not how old you are. It's like how unconnected you are from American history.
I know.
You got to be careful with that one.
I hear the power gets knocked out pretty frequently out there because they get some pretty wild weather. So,
all right. Well, hey, Rick, thanks for playing, man. That was a lot of fun. Just a reminder, we can deck you out in some great swag from our with our Stormfront Freaks tornado logo. We've got T-shirts for men and women, sweatshirts, jackets, hats, and more. Visit and share your holiday wish list at stormfrontfreaks.com podcast store. So we're going to take a short break. Our podcast listeners get to hear the latest edition of the Titans U Minute with Chris Sanner. So stay right here. We'll be back with Rick and the co-host to discuss the relationship between the National Weather Service and storm chasers. Okay.
All right, got a 4-minute break.
So we got a 4-minute break. Rick, one thing I'm going to ask you to do, if you would do it, will you do I should ask you, will you do a plug and say, this is Rick Smith, warning coordinator, meteorologist for the National Weather Service in Norman. You're listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast. Will you say that?
Yeah. Yeah. If you'll let me take a 60-second break, I'll do that.
Go ahead. Go pee.
You can call yourself Weather Czar, too.
I wasn't going to say that.
You can say whatever the hell you want. All right.
Weather guru. Hey, Phil, I've got an idea for a new like product. We could do like something skeleton themed, like skeleton themed Dina or Kim shirts.
Okay.
And then Hooch, and then
hey, I'm open to this too. Because when we started this thing, we opened the store, the podcast store, because Mark and we have a cousin that does screen printing and embroidery and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, so we have him doing that up in Minnesota. He runs that internet store. But I'm open to if there's, the prices. Yeah, I don't think we've sold anything.
Phil's already pulling in 7 figures with this on the side.
Right.
I've seen the cars, Phil. I've seen the cars and the new pants. I've seen it all.
Even at the prompter, even at the teleprompter.
You're looking at my pants, okay?
That makes sense why Phil came.
I've noticed your weather pants.
So here's my point: is I'm open to if you guys know of a better way that people can get that, because the prices are kind of high, because all he's doing are individual orders. So if someone orders it, he's got to set up all the screen printing stuff for one order and then ship it to that person, all that kind of stuff. So the prices are a little up there.
Can
they
get us in China? I mean, is Stormfront Freaks in China?
We are. I'm sure we have downloads in China.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna start doing what's the stuff on the bottom? The words.
CG.
Chinese.
Talking about captions.
Oh,
closed captions. So we're gonna start doing that in China.
90 seconds. 90 seconds.
All right, so Rick.
This
is Rick Smith of the whatever you want to say. You're listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast.
All right. Hi, this is Rick Smith, warning coordination meteorologist at the National Weather Service office in Norman, and you're listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast.
Wow, you got that in one take.
Consummate professional. Wow.
Very professional.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
The name of our podcast is not one that just easily rolls off the tongue. No.
I'm kind of surprised I made it.
Rick, you should ask for a raise. I'm just saying.
1 minute.
Who came up with the name?
This is probably the most, Rick, you've probably spoken on a podcast. Not everybody gets a word in quite frequently on Weather Brains.
If all the panelists are on there's like 10 people, so it's kind of hard to. Wow. There's been whole podcasts where I haven't said a word, which is fine.
How do you guys do like the talking? Do you guys have like a talking order, or is it just like whoever?
30 seconds.
No, it's a free for all. You guys are so much more organized with the rundown and everything. So
God,
it usually works out though.
Really? Oh my!
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Now Phil wants a raise.
Yeah, really.
All right, 15.
Okay.
Double your pay.
Here we go. All right, so we're going to go into the discussion topic.
10. Get 5, 4, 3, 2.
All right, welcome back. We know the National Weather Service field offices, they do a great job every year of putting on storm spotter training classes. They talk about the value of having trained spotters on the ground to report what they see aloft via radar. However, when it comes to storm chasers, they always seem to kind of keep an arm's length between them and the chasers. So some of the best spotters are experienced chasers that may or may not be on their home turf. So why does it seem that every year we hear of National Weather Service offices not reporting chaser reports? So kind of open it up to Rick and all of the co-hosts. I guess what's been your experience? And maybe Rick, we'll start with you as far as explaining how you feel that relationship is between the spotters and then where chasers come into that mix.
Exactly, yeah. And just to kind of my disclaimer, the small print at the bottom of the screen here, I'm speaking for myself and I'm speaking for our office. There's 121 other National Weather Service offices, and honestly, how they deal with chasers, how they deal with spotters may be different at different offices, but this is kind of my take and my opinion. For one thing, I think the line between what's a storm spotter and what's a storm chaser has gotten a lot fuzzier. It used to be people would ask what the definition or what the difference was, and it was always kind of hard to answer. Now it's even harder to answer because, like you said, some of the best spotters, some of the best storm observers who give us reports and information to help the warning process are chasers, because chasers have a lot of experience. Somebody like Chris or somebody, chasers who are out there all the time, who are spending their money and their time to learn about storms, and to do that, sometimes the best reports are from them. That's not to discount the spotters. So this is not a wiggling out of answering the question answer, but really the line between spotters and chasers has gotten so blurry now. There are spotters who are chasers, there are chasers who are spotters, and everything in between. So we benefit from the information that everybody provides. Is it all good information? No, obviously it's not. Some of the reports are not great. Most of those are not intentionally not great. Nobody's trying to submit a bad report usually. But we use every report that we get. We look at every report that we receive in real time, and whether we do any complicated process that goes on in a warning office during severe weather.
So I guess tell me, because that's one thing I've noticed is every WFO seems to kind of have their own method of how they deal with things. I remember one office that, used to give out a spotter number if you went through their training class that I'm sure helped them better identify, okay, this is a legitimate spotter. But others that don't do that, I guess, why is there not why haven't we said, hey, let's come up with a national way that we're going to treat this?
That's a great question. And there's been attempts at doing that. There's been attempts at establishing like a nationwide 800 number where someone could call and make reports. And for various reasons, those things have never really taken off. I think what we're seeing now, though, is the closest thing we have to that right now is probably Spotter Network. Spotter Network is something that I love. I love Spotter Network. I wish more people used it. I wish we got more information through it. We get a ton of reports in our office through Spotter Network. And Spotter Network reports come from storm spotters. It could be a volunteer fireman in some little county in southeast Oklahoma. It could be a chaser who's out there with decades of experience, and everybody in between, a general public, somebody from the general public. The beauty of Spotter Network is you don't have to know what number to call. You don't have to know whose CWA you're in. If you're sitting in far western Beckham County in Oklahoma and your GPS is turned on, then it knows that belongs to the Norman office, and it's going to send the report to us. It's going to alarm on our workstations. It's going to light up in our NWS chat room, which everybody's monitoring. And I mean, to me, that's one of the best things that's come along. And I hope that we'll continue to see that grow, because to me, that's the closest thing we've got to something like you're talking about.
Is there, Chris, what's your experience, I guess, with other chasers and using that Spotter Network app or online site?
I mean, obviously, I used to kind of teeter with Spotter Network a few years ago. Now that I'm on TV, I kind of just use that as my reporting method because it's kind of obvious if I have a tornado, it's going to be on air at the time. So I've kind of migrated into the TV kind of mantra because I don't, when you're on TV, you don't have time to say, okay, give me 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes, Damon. I gotta type this report up for Spotter Network. It's more like I've got a tornado on the ground. So you kind of run with that. What you run into, I think, with chasers, usually whenever you see someone who's complaining about being treated wrongly by a National Weather Service office, typically it's their fault because I'll be a little less PC on this, but for the most part, it seems like anybody that runs into problems dealing with the National Weather Service has done so because they have themselves not shown a lot of professionalism. A little bit of professionalism as a chaser goes a long way to building better relationships. I know there's been some problems. One or two guys have had problems in the past with certain offices, and those same offices I have a really good relationship with. And it's just a matter of, you got to recognize that sometimes things are freaking hectic for guys like Rick. When the stuff hits the fan, you have May 19th with 2 and 3 different supercells bearing down on Oklahoma City, and their phones are ringing off the hook. They got TVs up looking at everything. I mean, they're just going to sometimes maybe miss something, or they don't need your report because they've gotten 6 others of the same thing. I don't know. I mean, it's just, you got to learn to give a little, I guess, when it comes to this stuff.
Chris, does that sound like a drone flying over your house? What is that sound?
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, I have no idea. I think it's, they're watching me.
Uh-oh.
Be careful when you start your car later.
Oh
no! Not for me.
We know who you are.
I think of no government. I don't know this man. Oh, sorry.
So I guess my question is, with that network, can you determine else than just looking at radar and maybe knowing that person from the past? How do you determine that a spotter report is completely accurate? And because I feel like that's got to be a problem when someone gets too enthusiastic and they just decide to post a report that maybe not might not be accurate.
Yeah, absolutely, that is an issue, and that's a problem at every weather service office, I'm assuming. I know at ours it is. I'll speak for ours. You get these reports, whether it's somebody calling on the phone, maybe it's a chaser who's out observing a tornado and they have our phone number and they're calling, and their cell service cuts out, or we're just getting every other word that they're saying, getting those reports. Or even if we get a report in Spotter Network, sometimes we're able to kind of do some very quick crowdsourcing to see if that makes sense. Does that make sense in relation to radar? If they're reporting a tornado or a wall cloud, does that make sense meteorologically? So we have to do that. The forecasters have to do that. And we also have to kind of determine, if it's a sole report by itself, then there's a lot of decisions have to be made. Is it the only report because they're out in the middle of nowhere where there's no other chasers or spotters out there? Or is it someone just kind of trying to goof on us? And on rare occasions, we have people, and we've caught people before that are sitting in their house, or they're sitting in their parents' basement or attic in Nashville, Tennessee, who are sending tornadoes and severe weather because they've got radar scope and they're watching our warnings, and they're sending us legitimate looking reports that we have to take the time to try to verify. Mm-hmm. And keep in mind that all of this is going on. We have seconds to do this. We don't have 10 minutes to go do searches and try to determine all this. So what Chris says is exactly right. A lot of times there's just a lot going on. And believe me, in our office, we take every report seriously. We look at it. Some reports we're able to very quickly look at and say, there's no way they're looking at. But the majority of the reports we have to kind of think about, and what we really like to see is when we get a number of reports saying the same thing, and that happens quite a bit in our area, fortunately.
So what do you do when there is a bogus report? You like release the dogs on them? I mean, what do you do?
Put 'em in jail.
It's tough because in the heat of battle, we're just a lot of times in the few occasions we've gotten these reports, they look legit. It's like I'm getting golf ball size hail here. Well, we just issued a warning saying there could be golf ball size hail, and it's about the right location. The timing looks right. It seems right, but what we do now is we search for IP addresses, and we try to, now when someone submits a report on our webpage, for example, we get the IP address of where that report came from, and that can help us kind of, if something looks a little squirrely, we can kind of say, well, but the problem is we have to look at every one of those. We can't just immediately discount it.
Do that, right?
We don't have time, and it takes people to do that. And now that's not a widespread issue. It happens every once in a while, but it happens.
Yeah.
So Rick,
no, go ahead, Mark.
Okay. So Rick, I'm a spotter up in Minnesota, so we're not all that active all the time, right? But
when you are.
At times we are, yeah. But tell me, in your office, what does it look like? Because you've talked about, you've got spotter network, you've got phone calls coming in, you've probably got other social media, your webpage. I assume amateur radio plays a role as well. What does that look like in your office when you don't have 20 people? How do you handle that?
Yeah. When we are staffed like we want to be for a severe weather event, we usually have, we may have individuals who are dedicated solely to issuing the warnings, warning forecasters, and that may be one, it may be 4 people, depending on the event. We always have someone, usually it's me and maybe my boss, who is monitoring the media, who's monitoring social media, who's monitoring those spotter network reports coming in. So we're watching all the Oklahoma City TV stations and monitoring their broadcasts. So when Chris comes on and says, I have a tornado, in progress in Garvin County or whatever, we see that. So we're taking advantage of that information. We're also getting phone calls from the public. We're getting phone calls from emergency managers and spotters. We have 4 or 5 different amateur radios that we're monitoring. We sometimes will monitor local spotter networks through radioreference.com or something like that online. We frequently are monitoring distant TV stations that we can't get over the air, like in Lawton or Wichita Falls. We're monitoring chaser video streams. If we can see that chasers are on a storm and are streaming video, that's one of the best things that we can see is streaming videos. So we're ingesting every piece of information we possibly can, and when we've got all the people there that we need to have there, it's not chaos, and it's very quiet, it's very calm, but everybody's got a job to do. Sure. But there's a lot of information and passing between the warning forecasters and people that are doing my job and the other jobs in the office.
Wow. So Rick, from a chaser standpoint, let's just say I'm just a regular average Oklahoma chaser. I go out, 15, 20 times a year. I know what I'm looking at when I see a tornado. What is the 1 or 2 things that a chaser could do to make reporting to you guys the absolute best? Do they do social media? Do they make sure they stream video? What would you recommend?
Really, for us, streaming video is always good. If we can get a clear video and they've got a good signal and we can see the storm and we have some idea of which way they're looking, that's great. Sometimes we're hanging on those chaser streams and they're repositioning or something. We're like, no, don't move, go back. You're in a good spot. And so we're really, that's important. If you don't have that, then giving us a tornado report or a developing tornado report, really spotter network or the telephone are some of the best ways. If you're going to try and get us a report on social media, for gosh sakes, don't use Facebook, use Twitter. Tag the office. If you know the office that you're trying to reach, tag them, or at least put the state weather hashtag on there and give the specific information, the basics, where you are, what you see, where you see it, and what time is it happening. Did it happen 15 minutes ago or is it happening right now? Try to answer those questions as much as you can on the front end of the report, because those are going to be questions that we're going to come back and ask, well, where are you? Which direction are you looking? Is the tornado 5 miles north of Clinton, or are you 5 miles north of Clinton? Those types of things. And those are things we teach in storm spotter training classes and But yeah, just the more specific information, calm information. Honestly, I don't care whether you call it an elephant trunk or a rope or a stovepipe or whatever. Just tell us it's a tornado. Just the facts, just the basic information, the details, where it is, and when it happened. That's really. I mean, it sounds basic, but that we don't get that all the time.
Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts.
Exactly.
So do you, Rick, in your storm spotter trainings, are you teaching about the Spotter Network app? Website?
We do mention it. Yeah, we do mention it. We do spotter training both in person and online, and we do mention Spotter Network. And we have had quite a few spotters that have signed up for it. It started out as kind of a chaser thing, but even some emergency managers are starting to use Spotter Network now. So it's kind of, like I said, in our office, we really have seen there's still a wall and size between what's a spotter and what's a chaser, but we rely very heavily on all of them. And I can tell you, Chris has been as an example of one person's. We've actually talked back and forth with Chris after an event to get specifics. We see him reporting something on TV as we're watching, but what time did it start? Did you find any damage? Because we're not able to always go out and survey all these tornadoes. So we could not do spotter training without storm chasers. We have nothing against storm chasers. Now there's a fringe element out there, obviously, that is probably not doing things exactly like I would do them, but we're not going to cast aspersions on the entire group of people and say all chasers are bad. They're not. I mean, chasers have helped us out a lot.
In training, are you guys teaching the elephant trunk? Just as a descriptor, because we used to get like wedge teacup size hail, and we're all like, "Who's got a teacup? I need to find it."
I will admit, I do teach the teacup size hail. I'm ashamed to say it, but
for the record, an elephant trunk is not an elephant trunk. That's a mini wedge. That's a baby wedge.
Yeah,
the average wedge. You got to get this right.
It's all just different grades of wedge.
It really is.
And then you got the 6-iron, the 5-iron, and the
future wedge, a baby wedge, a soon-to-be wedge.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I have a serious question.
Go.
All right. Rick, do you ever see technology evolving or getting so good, and maybe the use of drones, maybe even, street cameras, that there's not going to be a need for
you're fired,
spotters?
Right?
This is something I say at the beginning of every storm spotter training I do, and it's not BS. It's not just something I say to keep them from leaving before I'm done talking 2 hours. It's the truth. I just don't see. We've got tower cams, we've got streaming video, we've got drones, we've got all kinds of things, and that can be helpful, but you still just don't. There's still nothing that can replace right now that I know of a person sitting there that's describing what they're seeing, that's feeling it, that's seeing it, that's there looking at it. And maybe someday there'll be something, but I don't see anything right now that's going to replace people.
Okay. All right.
Artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Rick, let me ask you this then too, because I know in spotter training classes they preach safety. Mm-hmm. I've gone through a number of those through different WFOs. Do you foresee ever the option or the opportunity to also start teaching some chasing safety, doing some chasing safety training about driving and those kinds of things, where you start incorporating the fact that, some of our spotters are becoming chasers?
We actually do a little bit of that in our training. We don't call it chaser training, but we do. You cannot ignore the fact that we do have storm spotters that sit on their back porch and report what they see. And we do have storm spotters that the emergency manager says, go sit at this point on the map and do not move and tell me what you see. But we have a lot of storm spotters, a lot of volunteer firemen, law enforcement that are out there driving, who are, the politically correct term we used to use was mobile storm spotters. Well, they're storm chasers, essentially. They're driving to try to get the best view of the storm. They are reporting to their community and helping the warning process. So they're a hybrid. So yeah, we do. We talk about best viewing locations. We talk about safe distances from the storm. We talk about escape routes. We talk about scouting out locations in advance to see, is your escape route a gravel road or a dirt road where you could get in serious trouble really fast. So yeah, we don't call it chaser training, but we are acknowledging the fact that people are spotting while their vehicle is moving and following along with the storm. And we need to do, we try to provide them the best information we can. We don't get into a lot of detail, but it's our job to help keep them safe while they're out there helping us.
Do you think the National Weather Service in general could be in a position where they could adopt some kind of safety training for chasers specifically, or do you think they're still trying to keep a little bit of an arm's distance there from that?
I think there's still a little bit of, I don't really know. I mean, I know that even some of the official Weather Service training, like if you go to the modules that came out a couple of years ago that are, kind of the basic spotter training, there's some of those concepts that are in there about maintaining a safe distance from the storm and escape routes and things like that. So there's a little bit of chaser stuff in there. So it's working its way in there. I don't, whether the Weather Service ever just comes out and fully embraces it, I don't know. But I'm not scared to say it in our office. I mean, we will take reports from anybody that gives them to us, and we will handle the reports and interrogate them and determine how to use them to help the warning process or the verification process after. And we appreciate people that take the time and trouble to report to us, whoever they are.
Good. Well, we're going to go ahead and take our final break. The rest of you can refill your drinks. When we come back, it'll be time for some amazing WX resources for you, and our weather fools might have you rolling on the floor. We'll see what happens. Those of you watching on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV, thanks for tuning in. We're here every Thursday at 8 o'clock. Don't miss our new show on October 19th with the Weather Channel's AMHQ and Weather Underground producer, Catherine Prosiv. You can catch our full edited podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or just go to stormfrontfreaks.com the Sunday following the recording. We'll see you all next week. All right.
Great.
Rick, thank you so much.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks. Cool.
Thank you, Rick.
Awesome.
Thank you. Hope that was
Oh, that was awesome.
that was good.
It's really
Yeah,
good.
It was.
It's amazing how fast the time flies by.
Yeah.
So
It does.
Yeah, no
doesn't it?
kidding.
I feel like I've
Love
got
it.
like 6 more questions. So
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Well,
Love to
we'll be speaking in quotes tomorrow, probably, Rick, at some point.
yeah, at some
Yeah.
point.
By the way, Rick,
You'll be seeing me.
Rick,
so.
by the way, Memphis is on the line. They want to know if you'll come back.
Because there's been a time or two where it's like, what the hell are we doing here? It's one of those Oklahoma springs where it's like, that's our third roof, or it's 115 degrees.
Yeah.
Cow.
I
Yeah.
bet.
But it doesn't last
Wow.
long. It's like, well, where else would I be? So,
Yeah.
Do you still have
Thanks
a
so
lot
much
of
for
family
having me.
back in
and,
Tennessee?
I love the podcast, and anything I can ever do to help, let me know.
Very good. Well, Rick, we
Awesome.
appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Have a great night, and I'll be in touch. I'll just follow up with you with some links and stuff like that for you.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. Let me know. All
All right.
right.
Have a great night.
hey, Rick.
Stay safe.
Good job.
Say, thanks.
All right.
Another good one.
Yeah, it's great.
I've honestly I literally have like 6 more questions that I could ask. It was funny because literally our discussion almost turned into basically us asking him and
Right.
Chris questions, which was awesome.
Right.
I thought that was awesome.
That's fine. That's
And in this corner, we've got Chris taking on.
No, actually, I mean,
I
for
thought
the
it was
record-
perfect though, because it's like both of them can speak very well on it.
Oh yeah, I mean, with Norman, I have one of the. I mean, they're just great people. I mean, I know me and Rick several times this last year. We got. It wasn't like anything bad. There was nothing. It was literally just a lengthy discussion, a postmortem about an event. I literally shared everything I could think of, and they turned into these 1,000-word dossiers and such about. Well, this tornado did this, and it moved here, and it did this, and it was fun.
So you weren't waiting outside like the weather office being like, I'm going to wait for him.
No, nothing like that.
No,
Although it sounds like they got a drone here. That's what
Yeah.
Chris, have you ever been told where to go, and just you sit there? Because I don't know if I'd do well with that. that.
Well, no. There's a lot of stories about that, Brady. A lot of stories. Phil experienced some of it last year.
Phil's been told where to go many times.
He's been many times.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I am a team player when it comes to doing TV coverage for sure. We have corridors, but my target city, I have a tradition of never going to that city. So
there you go.
I try. It's just my little way of rebelling, but I do try to stay in my corridor because.
There you go.
I mean, like the high risk last year, I messed it up because I was so afraid of messing it up. Because it was a huge day, and I'm like, I didn't know what was my corridor and what was it. There was a little bit of confusion, communication snafu. So I was just like, it was at the end of the day, I was so mad. But yeah, there's tons like that happens.
We're still alive.
Oh no, it's fine. It's just part of doing TV stuff.
Here's that one town. Oh.
Hey, the one question I did ask that I kept thinking in the back of my mind, but I knew we were just short on time. I was going to ask him about the tornado, Chris, that you reported that never got officially declared.
Oh, I'm so thankful you did.
We're gonna have to get him back. Get him back, Phil.
If the conversation wasn't going as well as it was, I would have definitely pulled that out to try and see where it would lead.
Well, yeah, that would have been fun.
If you ever want me to make conversation go just dead silent, just let me know. I got a couple.
Ambush questions.
I'll keep that in mind. All right. Let's talk about weather resources and weather fools. Maz, we'll start with weather fools again. We'll start with you. You can introduce it.
Wait, I'm doing fools?
He does weather resources.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. You're right.
Don't mess me up.
Bad. That's my bad. Tell me where to go, just like everybody else. So weather resources. Who's got weather resources?
I do.
I do, but I'm just trying to make sure this is reputable. I think it is. It seems like it is. It's a new.
That's a good way to start.
It's a really new website. And I just want to make sure I'm not steering people into the abyss.
Is it weather porn site?
No.
I have one.
A little too hoppy.
No.
MJ, you said you have one?
No, Chris did.
I did.
Chris. That was Chris. Kim, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And Brady?
I do, yeah. I'll just, it's fine. I'll say.
Brady's weather porn
it
site.
Seems like it's good enough.
Man.
Good enough.
Wow. That's right. And we want to give our listeners and viewers just good enough.
I can do an ad for that sometime if you ever need me
this
to.
but's for you. So, Brady, you're going to go with it? Is that a yes?
Yep.
All right. So, Kim, Chris, and Brady. All right. Weather fools.
I do.
Brady, Phil has one.
No. Okay, good. I was going to say mine's not very strong.
Brady.
Once again.
So, Brady, do you want me to have you last so you can just segue into it, or what do you want me to do?
Yeah, that would work. That'll work.
Okay.
Oh, God. I can't figure out how to get these bigger either.
I'll tell you, it's funny. Some of the little side ads I get on my that you all seem to point out for whatever reason.
I know. I'm like, what are you looking at?
I'm gonna just do this now so you can see it now and make fun of it now, I guess.
Google preferences.
Look at the jogger pants for men.
Oh my God.
Just a minute, I gotta stare that up.
I'm a fan of it.
Like, what is?
Can you send me that link?
Zubas are coming back. It looks like
You better not click on it, Phil. Then you're gonna have advertisements on your Facebook.
Gamus. Gamus.
Game.
Wow.
Gosh.
No.
Jogger pants for men.
You are
There's
not.
no shot of limoncello after that.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my.
Welcome to our last episode.
But no,
Here.
seriously, Phil. Phil.
Anyway.
Send me that link later. That looks really good.
I will. Hey, I'm a fan of the Zubas. I'm a fan of the good old-fashioned Zubas, and it's funny because I saw Mark, the Minnesota Twins.
Yes, Zubapalooza.
Zubas night. They had handed out Zubas pants to the first 10,000.
I got a couple of yoga stretch pants.
Oh God! Oh, you in
What are you
yoga
saying?
stretch pants?
Are you saying Zumba?
Zubas. Zubazz. You should remember those back in the 80s. I remember Mike Ditka. Mike Ditka wore those all the time for the Bears on the sidelines.
Oh,
They're like
okay.
tiger stripe
Oh, yeah. Okay.
jogger pants, I guess. I don't know. All right, so weather fools, Brady and Phil. Anybody else with a weather fool? That's it. All right, so Brady, you're going to introduce that. Remember, gentlemen, we are episode 37 show notes. Episode 37 show notes.
Yep.
All right.
And then we'll go to MJ for listener questions and responses, and I will close it out.
Rock and roll.
Resources first.
Resources first, so we'll count in mass.
You know, this happy amber is making my face turn red.
Whoa. I think you look great. Right?
You're like Brady. We can't see you below the waist, so I don't know why your face is so red.
Jeez. What? Oh, my. All right. Did he freeze?
There's a lady. There's a lady.
Sorry, Kim.
And she's
Kim knows what she got into.
I sure. Oh, trust me.
And she's a good part of all of it.
Oh my god! Oh my grandma's.
By the way, did you like my Elvis picture?
Very nice.
She's gonna.
Me and Elvis. Me and Elvis.
Aww.
That was me and Elvis in Vegas, and my
You're
wife.
an impersonator. He's got a.
Oh yeah.
Elvis has got a big. Elvis has got a big forehead.
That was Fat Elvis, by the way. That was the Fat Elvis Vegas days. All right. We'll roll.
All right, we'll get Count Maz in. Ready?
Yep.
All right, here we go in 3, 2.
All right, welcome back. Hey, it's time now for weather resources. It's cool places you can find some of the latest, or maybe not even the latest, just kind of cool weather stuff, dealing with places you can go get information. Well, heck, why am I telling you? Let's just go to Kim. What do you got for us first, Kim?
Okay, well, first let me preface it with saying that I was in New England over the weekend. So I got the idea about where I look to see where the good fall foliage is. You know, it's the time of the year, Columbus Day weekend's coming up. Some of you may want to think, where should I go to see some good color? So I found this website, and let me bring it up here. You got it? Do you see it? Okay. I'm very excited. I'm doing this very well. Okay, so this is a state-by-state guide to fall colors. It's tripsavvy.com, and then it's /a-state-by-state-guide to fall.
We'll throw that on the show notes.
A-state-by-state. Oh my God.
So you got that? All right, so look what you can do here, though. This is really cool. I'm going to scroll down, and you can actually go state by state, and it tells you first what kind of colors you should be looking for, the peak time, the hotline. There's even hotlines for all these states. I mean, it's just really cool. So I'm going to pick Connecticut, I think, here. We'll pick Connecticut. You click on it, and it's going to bring you some beautiful pictures, give you the actual interactive fall foliage report map, which is now available. So you can go there. And it shows now it's very low, and I can attest to that. When I was up there, there really wasn't much going on.
It's pretty good.
It's actually, yes, and they said because the big heat wave they had last week, a week before, really stunted the color growth, or stopped the color.
Yeah.
So it was disappointing when I was up there. But and then it's like where you can drive, and why the leaves change color. So it actually will tell you, give you some educational information about it. So this is a really cool site.
That is awesome.
Who wants to learn about colors? Yes.
Kim, I saw a foliage hotline. Is that actual like an actual phone number you can call?
Yes.
No way.
I didn't think they did hotlines anymore. I thought they got rid of the 1-900 numbers.
They did.
Who's answering that phone? That's the real question.
Wait, this just in. The first husband has turned.
My grandma would be calling that like every 5 minutes just to talk to someone.
To get to the 20-minute conversation.
Hello? Hello? We have downed leaves out here. Oh my God.
You guys are making fun of my resource. Okay.
No way. I think it's awesome.
So yes, cool website. All right, that's it.
Very timely. Thank you. I will be looking at it just to let you know. Okay.
Good.
All right, Mr. Sandman, what do you got?
Okay, I've got a couple of things. The first one, I've been using a new tool on tropicaltidbits.com. It is their modeling page. I am not as versed on screen sharing. In fact, I was not prepared to screen share, so I'm not. You're just going to have to do it as if this is the radio and you're just listening, and I'm going to describe it in great detail.
Do you have a dry erase board?
I do actually. No, we won't grab that. But seriously, hit my microphone. But there's basically an average model forecast sounding that you can click and drag over an area, and you get the average sounding for that area, which is just amazing because we have this really bad problem in the weather community about cherry picking great soundings. And when you click and drag and get an average sounding, that's probably closer to real life and what's going on. So that's one. And also it is autumn, and I'm not going to one up Kim. I'm going to offer a secondary resource on fall foliage maps. It's at SmokyMountains.com, and they have basically what is a fall foliage predictor map for 2017, so you can see when your area is supposed to peak. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's not. It is a forecast, so things can be wrong, but it is something I have used in the past as well. So
that's a good
Chris, real quick, because I'm actually super interested in that sounding. How, what does it just take the average between two soundings, or how
basically the average of the environment throughout that whole area?
Okay.
Like the whole area, click and drag. Yeah, it's really cool. I played around with it a little bit. I don't know how reliable it is yet, but I mean, it is Tropical Tidbits and Levi Cowan's site, and he does a really good job. So I'm going to guess it's pretty solid.
Yeah, because I feel like there's a problem because it's like in one forecast site, it gives you the projected sounding, and then there's a whole area that it could be completely different,
Oh, so yeah. People just they go to the brightest point on the map. So, but yeah, it really helps with that if you want to see a better average of what you're looking at for the day.
So, Chris, where was that first site?
TropicalTidbits.com. So, yeah, just go to their modeling section, and yeah, you can find that. It's really nice.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Let's move to Brady. You got something somewhat interesting tonight? Or
I got something good. I'll preface it by saying this website just came out, and it's called Mike's Weather Page. And I don't know who Mike is, so I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna vouch for Mike here. And let me just share my screen. But from what I've seen, it looks pretty cool. So this is basically a site that gives you a bunch of different pages. There's the National Hurricane Center forecast.
Did you do this one already?
No.
Yeah, I think we did.
Or Dina.
No, I did not.
Dina did it. Dina
did.
It was
I think
Dina.
Dina
did it.
Did she?
All right.
When was this?
Brady was sleeping at some point.
No. When was this? This must have been
it was only a few episodes back.
Dina on line 3.
Oh my gosh. Well, Dina, this is in honor of you. Basically, for those that didn't listen to that episode, this is just a website with a bunch of different maps. There's the National Hurricane Center prediction for Nate's. A bunch of different. There's his Twitter account. So it's pretty cool.
A lot of different. It is cool, because there's a lot of different resources on one site to go to. I think that's, what does he call it? SpaghettiModels.com? Is that what it is?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we've definitely done this before. Yeah. All righty. Well, that's it's kind of like, I guess I'm the weather fool this episode, right?
It's kind of the ADD for weather people. There's so much on that page.
There's a lot. Cool. There's a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. That's it. Oh, by the way, so if you missed any of those new or even old resources, you can check them out on episode 37 show notes. You got that, huh? Episode 37 show notes on Stormfront Freaks.
Show nuts.
Show nuts? Whoa. I didn't know we were making show nuts.
Well,
it is about it's holiday season. It's
one beer, and I'm looking for trouble.
Keep them toasty.
All right.
Thanks, Kim.
Brady, let's go.
Now let's transition on to our next segment, which Maz, that was great, but this, I know I've gotten some emails from people. This is really people's favorite part of the podcast here.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you.
This is Weather Fools. Basically, us as the freaks are out looking for some silly things, some funny things, or some not so smart things that someone in the weather community or the public does. And it's usually caught on video or Twitter. So Phil, what is your weather fool this week?
Okay, so you guys are familiar with Sharknado, correct?
Yes.
Oh
yeah.
Which one?
Right. Yeah, any of the 5 or 6 that happen to be there.
Yeah.
Well, this actually happened in a coastal Mexican city back in the end of September. Fish started raining down on the city. Literally, fish were actually falling into the city. and they figured it was because of a water spout that had come through and sucked up some of those fish into the air and dropped them to the ground. So it was a fishnado. It wasn't a sharknado, but it was a fishnado.
Wow. How confused would you be if you just get hit in the head by a fish?
Exactly. I mean, you have to think someone's tossing it from a
darn drones.
I know.
From a window or something. But yeah, so this really happened. A fishnado hit a coastal Mexican city.
How is it they were already filleted and frozen? That's
yeah. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
So who's the real fool, Phil, here? Is the fish or the person that got hit by it? That's my question.
Yeah, well, right. So it's not really a fool. I just thought it was funny that a real fishnado actually happened.
That's pretty awesome.
Wow.
Okay, well, that was pretty awesome. Now, my weather fool this week. Once again, I'm going to preface it
With
here.
all kinds of excitement, he said that was pretty awesome.
Yeah. No, it was. I didn't mean to convey anything fake there. It was true happiness for that. What? Well, you can't fire me unless I'm getting paid.
Damn. I knew there was a loophole somewhere.
All right. So here, can you guys see this picture of this?
Oh, no.
Unfortunately.
Cats.
So here's the first one. Look, this is me. I'm getting in my car and I'm sure Chris can relate to this. So there's that cat.
So explain what it is to our listeners.
Okay, so it's a cat, basically a meme. The cat's saying severe weather, ? Run to the nearest window and watch. And the cat's very excited.
It's a fucking cat.
That's me.
Hey, no.
Is there a weather calendar?
I quit. I'm done.
So it's a cat. This is Grumpy Cat. For those that don't know, I do have 5 Grumpy Cat t-shirts, all different embroidered things. But here's a weather forecast. Here's Grumpy Cat basically saying visibility is high. I can see an idiot. And that's making fun of meteorologists. That's taking cats. I guess the cat's probably the weather fool on that one. And then this one ending with a bang. So you have a cat sitting out in the snow, and he said, "Ma pee froze, and I wasn't done yet." And he looked very
I don't get it.
Poor kitty. That kitty reminds me of mine. It's very fat, so it looks like it enjoys a lot of food. Okay. All right, you can find. I don't know if we're actually going to post those pictures. Might tweet them, but you can find Phil's and possibly mine on our show 37 or show notes on episode 37 at our website, stormfrontfreaks.com. Once again, that is stormfrontfreaks.com. You know what? Check out the merchandise. There's some great stuff on there.
Do you have a cat calendar yet?
I do. I actually have about 6 of them, but I don't hang them up.
No, but hold it. Is there such a thing as a cat weather calendar?
That's a good idea for like.
There's gonna be.
There's
now.
Right? Give me a couple days and a couple Microsoft PowerPoint.
I'm sure there's
lemonellas.
All right, well let's check in with MJ for any listener questions or see what our online folks are saying.
Sure, we got a review on iTunes from Texas Storm Chasers, and they say, "I began listening to the Freaks podcast a month prior to this review, starting at episode 1 and now just catching up to the current episode 36. Binge listening allows me to say that the show has definitely grown in both entertainment value along with guest quality." And they go on to say, "Average weather weenies, along with more experienced weather folks, will enjoy this podcast with quality content mixed in with humor."
Aww.
So thank you, Texas Storm Chasers, for that review.
Thanks for letting us know your honest feedback. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Weather weenies.
We kind of started with janitors on the first, the first. You know anything about weather?
The janitor at the National Weather Service. Right?
Oh my God!
And now we finally get Rick Smith. So
you started with cats.
It's all up there. It's all uphill.
That's awesome.
And recorders.
All right. So I think that about does it for this episode of Stormfront Freaks podcast and Stormfront Freaks Raw. Thanks for listening and watching. Please take the time, like North Texas Storm Spotters, or was it Chasers?
Oh, you already messed it up.
They're both. What was it, MJ?
Texas Storm Chasers.
Thank you. So like the Texas Storm Chasers, hey, we'd love it if you would leave us a review on your podcast app. We love
Only if it's positive.
The 5 stars are the better ones, of course. But hey, we'll take them. We really do appreciate your feedback, so thanks for that. Special thanks to our guest, Rick Smith. And our next episode in 2 weeks, we're going to be recording live on October 19th with the Weather Channel's AM HQ and Weather Underground weather producer, Miss Catherine Prosiv, is going to be back with us as a guest this time instead of just a guest co-host. So be sure to click subscribe on your podcast app to be notified when it's available. Go to stormfrontfreaks.com or our YouTube channel if you actually want to watch it live. And we also interact. If you're watching live on YouTube, we'll interact with you as well in the chat box. So we'd love that. So for MJ, Maz, Brady, Kim, and Chris, I'm going to go ahead and signal the all clear, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Catch you on the flip side.
See ya.
On the flip side.
I said see ya.
See, oh, bye.
That works too. That works too.
Sorry.
Catch you on the flippity flop.
Good job. Hey,
Kim.
one thing,
Chris.
Chris, your microphone, your voice kind of was coming in and out. My first question is your microphone the one you're using on Hangouts? Is that the one that's hooked in? Okay. Second, is it one where you actually have to speak straight into it because you kind of have it down?
Yeah, it might be one that I have to do that. I'm not. Yeah, I haven't had that trouble, but yeah, I might need to do that. So.
Because like now you're really good, but there were definitely times where
if I look away, I'll make sure I focus on it.
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
I will do what Brady does with this table, and I will sit here and
Exactly.
Get Rick back on the phone. Let's do this.
Do not move.
About do something on your desk.
I will. I'm gonna get my boombox thing or whatever that's called. I'm gonna set it up.
A boom box.
Boom arm.
Okay, whatever that.
It's a boom arm.
Okay, yeah, the boom arm, whatever.
Boom arm.
Whatever.
Boom arm. Yes.
Just duct tape it right to the table.
Okay. The other thing to share with you guys. So we're on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. They're doing on Thanksgiving Day. William is going to be doing a marathon of shows.
Nice.
Of our shows?
So our shows.
Wow.
So one of the things I want to have you guys do before you leave tonight is I need to get a video of you guys saying, like, hey, this is Phil Johnson. Thanks for watching the Stormfront Freaks Marathon and happy Thanksgiving.
We don't say
just something simple like that. So I'll have you guys each do that, and MJ, I don't know if you can put them on the big screen when it's their turn.
Yeah,
I know it probably would be automatically.
Well, let me just say who it is, and I'll put them up there, and then they can.
Okay, and then all I gotta say is, so hey, this is Phil Johnson. Thanks for watching the marathon on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. Happy Thanksgiving, something like that. So say Happy Thanksgiving, Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. And marathon. Make sure those 3 things are in there as well as your name.
Phil, what about for the people that don't celebrate Thanksgiving? Should we just say Happy Holiday or Merry Turkey Day?
Turkey.
Yeah. You can say enjoy the turkey. Happy Turkey Day. I don't care what you do. Just make sure marathon is in there. Thanks Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV and Happy Turkey Thanksgiving, whatever your name.
All right.
Okay.
Put that in there somewhere. And so what we'll do is he's going to put those in between the various shows as he's doing it. So MJ, tell us who's starting. We'll go down the row.
Yeah, first I have to unmute. Okay, I will. I'll go down my list down here, and what you should do is do a 3-2, and then start your thing once I tell you you're on. So, Brady, you are up.
All right. Hi, this is Phil. No, God, I was going to...
This isn't Phil. You
can't
say Phil.
I had it in my head.
I'm going to mute.
All right, we're good. Wait, okay, so I'm saying Brady, and I'm saying the Storm Spotter, or not the Storm Spotter. Oh, my God. Someone else go first.
Don't use any verbs. Just do that. Brady, Stormfront, Marathon.
That's why he's not going into TV.
All right.
Oh, my gosh, get out of
All
here.
right, Phil, you're up. You're up, Phil.
All
Maybe
right.
do a practice one first. Okay.
3, 2. Hi, this is Phil Johnson. You're watching our marathon on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. There you go.
There you go.
Like a star.
All right, Maz, you're next. So you are up.
You ready? 3, 2, 1. Hey, Oklahoma Weather Tracky TV. Tracky. Take 2.
Oh my God.
Hey. No, don't start that. You Chucky TV.
That was amazing. That was amazing.
Oh, and we're done. Which button? I'm trying to figure out which button I'm hitting here.
Don't mute your video. All right.
Oh my God, I'm gonna mute myself.
Everybody else, you guys should mute yourselves.
All right, I think I'm ready. Uh-oh. There's something that says I'm presenting to everyone right now. What does the heck does that mean?
You are, so that you stay on screen so that I
for
get the
crying
video.
out. Oh, you did that?
Yes, I did.
Jay. And your little dog, too. There we go. All right, 3, 2, 1. Hey, you, yeah, on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. Hey, happy Thanksgiving, and thanks for watching the Stormfront Freaks Podcast Marathon.
Dang,
Awesome. That was good.
I got
That
it.
was good. That was good. Tracky.
Oh,
Start
All right, Kim's up.
oh gosh.
And
All right, this should
there
be
you go.
fun.
You're ready to go.
I wish I wouldn't be wearing my Salem shirt though, because I feel kind of bad. Something witchy on Thanksgiving. But okay.
You are bad.
Okay, I'm bad. Okay, ready?
Witchy woman.
3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, I'm Kim Cunningham, and thank you for watching our marathon on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Very good.
Did I say my name?
No,
Yeah,
you
no, I
didn't.
just realized
don't-
you did not.
I don't
You
know
did
this.
not.
Sandy
You didn't.
Beach.
You want to have him do it? You can do another one.
You want? Okay, Mass gets to try again. And you're up.
Are you kidding me? All right, you ready? Wait, is my video going?
Where'd Maz go?
Stop it. Are you messing?
No,
Yeah.
you're all good. Go. Man.
Okay. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hey, you. Yeah, you on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. This is Maz. Hey, happy Thanksgiving, and thanks for watching the Stormfront Freaks Podcast Marathon.
Nice.
Okay, that's good. All right.
That was really good, man.
All right, Sander, Chris is up.
Okay.
So there you are.
Good. Okay. 3, 2, 1. So there's this ancient legend that however much turkey you eat on Thanksgiving, that determines the next tornado season. Now, I'm just going to say, you watching this on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV, I want you to eat a lot of turkey, but let's keep them out of the cities. Anyways, I'm Chris Center, and you're watching the Stormfront Freaks Podcast Marathon right here on Oklahoma Tracker TV. Weather Tracker TV. Weather Tracker Oklahoma. Yeah. You can just cut that last part out and you're good. Yeah.
I think there's a way we can do that.
Yeah.
There's
Rub my voice in. Tracky TV.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
All right, Brady. your turn.
I'm actually going to
Please,
start a
give me
new
a second.
storm chase team called the Tornado Trackies. I think it'll
Trackies.
work.
There you go. All right, Brady's up.
Alrighty. 3, 2. Meow. Is that a cat? No, it's just me, Brady, and this is the Stormfront Freaks Marathon on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. And guess what, guys? Happy Thanksgiving.
You got it.
Oh God, we had to get a meow in
Can I
there.
do it again?
You had to get a meow. You kind of effed up the Oklahoma Weather Tracker.
Okay,
TV.
let me do it again. Let me do it again.
Did you say
All right.
the marathon too? Okay, all right.
I don't think so.
Okay, wait. You're okay. You're up again.
3, 2. Meow. Is that a cat? No, it's just me, Brady Harris from the Stormfront Freaks. Guess what, guys? Thanks for watching the Oklahoma Weather. Oh my God, that was so bad.
No, that was going good.
You're doing so good.
Yeah.
I totally
You
forgot.
did. You had it going. You were rolling.
I
That's
totally
good.
forgot what the Weather Tracker TV thing.
All right.
I want more of a
I was about to say, okay,
you
get
know.
serious. Get serious. But then you do a cat call, so then I don't know.
All right, 3, 2. Meow. Is that a cat? No, it's just me, Brady Harris from the Stormfront Freaks. Thanks for watching this marathon on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all.
That was good. That was good. No, you're only looking at the camera for about 10% of that, but that's all right. That was good.
Oh, I was supposed to look at the camera?
That's your thing.
Yeah,
well, it's a video.
I don't think I did either.
But that's all right. That's all right.
I can do it again. You want me to do it again?
All right. No, it's fine.
Nah,
We're
it's
good.
good.
MJ's up.
All right, I guess it's my turn. 3, 2, 1. This is MJ. Thank you for watching the Stormfront Freaks Marathon on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. You have a happy Thanksgiving.
Very good. All right.
Yeah, one
cool.
take.
Yeah.
All right, nice.
I hate you, Emily.
That was
I want to do mine again.
You want to do it again, Kim?
I do, because I think I was not looking at the camera.
All right.
Okay.
Crap.
Okay, hang on. And you are up.
Hey everyone, I'm Kim Cunningham, and you are watching Stormfront Freaks Marathon here on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. We sure hope you're having a great Thanksgiving.
All right. That was good.
Very good.
That was good.
All right, good.
All right. We'll
Much
use that.
better.
We'll use those. Very good. And then maybe we'll throw in little bloopers. That'll be maybe fun in between, too.
Oh, good Lord.
Tracky.
Weather Tracky TV.
Good stuff. All right. All right. So just so you guys, at Santa, I was going to ask you this question, too, about Storm Warriors.
Yes. Are we supposed to still be live up here on the upper right hand?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
we're
I
still
got to
live.
stop that a minute here now.
Oopsie.
We had to be so I could get the recordings, but now